Yes, people, Reese from Property Hustle. Now, absolutely everyone and their mum talks about raising money from social media, but very few actually tell you how you can do this with a small following. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I raised hundreds of thousands for my own property deals and why you do not need a massive following in order to do so. And also why you don't need to become a full-time content creator, because that isn't what we're here for. So by the end of the video, you're going to fully understand the system that makes investors trust you before they've even met you in person, the exact approach that I use to turn a small following into serious opportunities, and how you can start doing the same straight away. Now, if you want our help so that you can start raising capital straight away, use the link in the description below to book a call. But without further ado, let's get straight into the value. I'm going to be covering exactly how you can raise money with only 500 followers. I say 500, but in reality, you could even do this, I'd say, with about 20, 50, 100. The main point and principle that I want to reiterate within this video is that you do not need a lot of followers whatsoever. You don't need to be famous. You don't need to be like a full-time content creator or anything. Common misconception. And at the start of my journey, I believe those things to be true as well. But I've learned from experience that it's just not the case. So I'm going to take you guys through the entire, I call it like a discovery journey of exactly what I'm talking about, and then rounding it off so all of this makes sense. So if you literally give me about 20 minutes, I think this video will take, I'll show you exactly how you can get people that follow you to give you hundreds of thousands for property deals. And as I was saying before, you do not need to become a full-time content creator. This is super, super important to understand. Now, what I've learned over my time is that people invest in people. And once you understand how to almost make yourself come across well throughout your social media platforms, whatever it is that you decide to double down on, this is something that you'll be able to carry with you for the rest of your life. And it all stems from these three different mechanisms of getting potential investors, so ultimately the people that follow you, to know you, like you, and trust you. Now, those are the only three touch points that you essentially need when it comes to anyone investing in you, buying into whatever it is that you're doing. Because as they do say, people do invest in people. And I was going to say the most successful investors, but the most success I've experienced with investors has come from those that don't necessarily care about, like flashy presentations and elaborate pitch decks. They're more so just concerned about me, believing in me, my vision, and my ability to execute on the opportunities that I'm trying to bring to them. So that's something that you need to reframe and truly understand. Now, there's a quote here that I included from Bill Gates, and he says that we tend to overestimate what can be done in 1 year and underestimate what can be done in 10 years. And the reason why I included this quote is because it's similar to, we overestimate how many followers we need to raise money and underestimate the value of having a few people that are truly engaged with what we do. Now, I'm going to show you an example later on of somebody who is almost like a mentor of mine, and I've learned a lot from. Now, social media wise, my reach, my following is like 10 times larger than his, but he has raised 10, maybe 50 times what I've managed to raise, many, many millions. And he'll serve as the perfect tool for exactly what I'm saying now. And what I really want to hammer down is how to make your small following do more for you than someone's big one. So the example that I'll show you is how he has used his small following to do more for him than my big one. And then in turn, learning from him how I've now pivoted to ensure that even though my pages still might grow, I'm ensuring that I'm raising a lot more money in relation to the amount of people following me, because it's just a vanity metric at the end of the day. Now, I want to preface all of this by saying before you even turn up, whether it's online, in person, whatever it is, we need to do the work that's often overlooked and understanding exactly who we are as people. Right now, this isn't to get like philosophical or anything, but one of the things that I made sure to understand was how I wanted to be perceived and received by others when showing up online. Yeah, and this is the same question that you can ask yourself before going out into the world, networking, socializing, etc. And understanding yourself, right? There's something that I use is like the 3-word framework. Me and my business partner call it is, what 3 words do you want to be perceived as, or what 3 words do you want people to know you as? For me, when I started this whole stuff, showing up online, wanting to raise money from investors, it was knowledgeable, different slash real, and inspirational. Those are my 3 words. And there's a tool that you guys can use as well to help understand more about yourself, and it's 16 personalities. Excuse my slow writing. I'm trying to use the what do you even call this, a mouse? It's not even a mouse, it's like this laptop thing here. Oh yeah, looks kind of nice. 16 personalities. So if you head there, take a test. It'll take about 10 minutes, maybe 15 max. And this will give you a very, very good understanding of who you are naturally as a person. So once you've done that, and then also the 3 words, let's see if I can do it like this, just so it's not as, there we go. 3 words you want to be known as. Yeah. So how other people perceive slash receive you. So for me, again, like I said, mine was to be knowledgeable, different, and real. It's not even letting me increase the size. Yeah. So that's that. That's the bedrock, guys. Honestly, this is the bedrock to me explaining everything else I'm about to explain today. Once you get this right, everything else becomes a lot easier. So the first pillars: knowing, liking, and trusting. Now, once you do these things, right, you've got your 3 words, you understand who you are. Just for reference as well, by the way, guys, I am an INTJ, and that's an architect. Each individual letter means something different: introverted, intuitive, thinking, judging. And the makeup of that is the personality type of an architect. Now, I'm not going to go into depth on exactly what that is, but it ties into how I want it to be perceived online, the 3 words. Now, when I did this, I had the intention of obviously getting people to know, like, and trust me. And then I'd focused on a niche. Mine was people similar in age to me, right? People that wanted, like, they had the money. Typically, they've engaged in some type of business pursuit. Quite young, they've got the money, but they don't have the knowledge on property, for example. You know, so that's why when I tie it in with one of the words that I chose of knowledgeable and different slash real, people with money, if they weren't knowledgeable on the topic of real estate slash property, and I was, you know, there's essentially a gap there that could be filled. So that's the next part. Once you've ticked these boxes, you then want to niche down. Now, at the very, very, very start, so when I've ever first started posting, I didn't post with any particular niche in mind, so to say. So I was just posting for the sake of just posting. But Kai, on the other hand, he had a very specific ICP with his investor type. So he targets Eastern Asian investors, raises a lot of money out there. And he's the reason why I too am about to do a big push in Eastern Asia. So the reason why niching down is so important is because it makes your messaging much more targeted and it allows you to resonate with the people that you intend to reach a lot more. So you kind of see it with musicians as well. Like you've got some musicians that make music that's like broad, general, and it may get a lot of streams and plays, but those musicians tend not to perform as well when it comes to their audience and their fan base coming out to their shows. Why? Because they don't resonate as deeply with the audience or fan base as opposed to artists or musicians that have a more cult type following. So the more you resonate with your followers or potential investors, in other words, the more they in turn feel like they know, like, and trust you. And remember, these pillars are very, very crucial for anyone investing. Like it always needs to be on the forefront of your mind. So that's the critical currency that will allow you to cash in and get their investment. Now, a lot of Kai's content, you can even see from the thumbnail here, a lot of it is centered around Eastern Asian culture, being out there, immersing in the country, the environment, etc. So it resonates deeply with investors from that side of the world. Now, at the start, I'll show you my example. So in that 1 year, I'd grown immensely, up to 30,000 followers, but I didn't raise a single penny. Now, everything I was posting was very general. It was viral, but it didn't really resonate with anyone enough for them to feel like they could buy into me. Until then, I switched it up. And even though I did still grow, I grew at only half the rate in twice the time than I did in a year. But then I raised hundreds of thousands more. Why? Because I had a specific niche in mind of who I wanted to target. And then the content that I put out there, in line with the 3 words earlier of being inspirational, different/real, and knowledgeable, it just helped to build the trust with the investor base that I was trying to reach. Now, with all of this being said, what do you actually post? And that's a fantastic question. Valid question. There are a multitude of different platforms, from LinkedIn to Instagram to TikTok to Facebook, to even like WhatsApp or Snapchat. Right? You'd be surprised. I've seen people raise money from Snapchat. Now, number one is literally just documenting your journey openly. Being I was going to say vulnerable, but not even necessarily that, just being you. Again, it boils back to these 3 words here, right? Just being you, documenting exactly what you're doing. So in the sense of property, I would show properties I was viewing. I would show numbers I was running. I would show spreadsheets. I would show conversations that I'm having, Zoom calls. I was just documenting exactly what I was doing, not in a content creator type of way, but just in a way of updating people. Same with LinkedIn. On there, because it is a very different type of platform, rather than actually creating maybe front-facing content like this, hey guys, blah blah blah. It's more written style content, but it's still a form of documentation. And that's the important thing there. It's just documenting your journey openly. Why? Because the more people see of you, the more they in turn feel like they know you. In turn, they may come to like you. And what happens after they like and know you? They will trust you, right? And that's the key. So through that and what you're documenting, you then want to address your audience's pains or problems. Now, for example, with Kai, with his ICP being Eastern Asian investors, in China, for example, a lot of them are capped with the returns that they can get at home in the Chinese economy, especially surrounding the real estate market, capped at around 2%, I believe. So by him putting out content that would potentially address that pain point of, showing the type of returns they could get by investing in the UK, and him positioning himself as the vehicle or the way, the solution to the problem, that's a win-win, and they're more likely to reach out and want to do something because they've got a pain, right? A problem that needs to be solved. Think about it. If you had like a wound on your arm, it wouldn't really take much for you to go out and maybe get a plaster, get painkillers, paracetamol. The more pain you experience, the sooner you're going to act. And that's the same with this. So you're making them aware of what their pain or problem is, and then you're merely just positioning yourself as the solution. And the more you do it, so the more stuff you put out there, the more consistent you are, the faster and the more likely you are to actually get something done, get them to reach out, or actually get them interested, right? Because there's a certain rule. I'm not too sure of the exact metrics, so I don't want to misquote it, but people need to spend a certain amount of time with you before they essentially buy into you. Now, with short form, because a video might only be 50 seconds, maybe a written post or something is not that long. Because it isn't that long, essentially, right? It's short form content. They need to see more and more and more of it in order for them to tick off these first few pillars. But the more consistent you are, the sooner that can happen. The sooner that happens, the more of these you can make. CTAs, call to actions. Now, this is essentially what happens once you've made them aware of their problem, you've given them the solution. So, maybe they want to retire, maybe they just have a pile of money in a bank account and it's not earning enough interest, it's being eaten away by inflation, whatever it is. You've positioned yourself as a solution, you've documented your journey openly, so you've shown what you're looking to do within the property space, whatever it is. You can then make a call to action, basically saying, for those of you interested, message me directly or fill in a form on my website, for example. This is a call to action that I've done in the past, right? And that just gets all of the people that are ready to act now, and it brings them to the forefront. It essentially just brings the cream to the top, right? And then you can skim it off. And what do you then do? This is where we start converting. So you start DM conversations, right? So here's an example, right? Based off of this post that I'd made, somebody had reached out saying, "Hey, I just seen your post and seems like you." This is even after. So what I'd done a raise and funds challenge, and then I'd raised all of the money that I needed to, I think, in about 5 days. And so he had reached out. He had wanted to invest, but I'd already reached my mark. But he said this: "I just seen your post and seems like you made it to raise the funds. Huge congratulations and keep it up. My family said that they're not ready yet to invest that amount of money, but will trust me, within 2025, I'll be one of your investors, 6 figures minimum, mark my words. Looking forward to your journey." And then he followed up at a later date saying, "Oh, with 100K, do you think I can get a good return? I see that you're trying to raise 350K. Would love to chip in the full amount, but all I have is 100K." So this was again when I was raising for a different opportunity, and I had made a call to action, and then he reached out. So it's literally that simple. Now, this isn't to say you're going to close every single investor, but the more conversations you have, the more people you speak to, the more likely you are to get the actual investor. And all you really need is one. Right? The more conversations you have, the closer you are to getting to that one. So you want to start the DM conversations like so. You want to collect information. So this is you see, like almost like a website like this. I haven't got it on this page. This is for something else, but on my property page, I have a form that investors can fill in, and that's where I collect the info, right? And then once you do that, it's then a matter of having a phone or Zoom conversation. Now, the point of this is just to find out more about them, find out exactly what they're looking for, and find out how the both of you can come together and collaborate, as them being the investor and you being the conduit or the opportunity. So that is at a high level how you would do it. It's focusing on the first pillars, making sure that you want to, or rather, how you want to be perceived and received by other people online, understanding yourself, doing the 16 personalities, niching down. This will really help. Like, it would save you a lot of time. This would have saved me a year. Yeah, I even miswrote it here. I'd put Jan 2023. I was meant to put 2024. But niching down on who you want to target will drastically help. Knowing what to post as well, documenting your journey, ideally focusing on one platform as well. I've seen LinkedIn work for more people than others. I've seen Instagram work for more people than others. It's finding what works for you and sticking with it. Addressing your audience's pain/problems, being consistent. Consistency is subjective in terms of what that actually looks like. Once a week can be consistent for some. Once a week might not be consistent for others. So it's just finding the sweet spot for you. If you can do 3 times a week, every week, then do that. 5 times, do that. If it's just once, then do that. And then every now and then, making the call to actions, letting people know that, look, I'm looking to raise money. I have this opportunity, blah, blah, blah. If you're interested, let's have a conversation, fill out my form, or message me directly. And then it's a matter of converting that DM or text conversation into an actual phone conversation. Right? So once you've done all of those things, right, these are the hidden keys. So what I want you guys to remember is that proactivity always, always, always wins. Right? You always want to be first. Why? Most people don't ever engage. Now, one of the things down here, I don't know if you can see that properly. So this video I posted the other day got 11,000 views. Imagine 11,000 people have watched this video. How many people actually engaged? So how many people actually liked it? Maybe only 400 or 500. How many people commented? Even less. Maybe only about 20, Here, for example, this video I posted, 50,000 people saw that I was looking to raise money. How many people liked it? Only 1,800 of those 50,000. How many people commented? Only 50. Only 50 of the 50,000 people that watched it commented. Right? And that tells you something. So most people don't engage. And because of that logic, we also understand that most people won't be the first to reach out, but that doesn't mean to say that people aren't watching. Now, I've included this message here as an example of what I mean, because this literally, as I was making the video, right, I got this message on my phone. Now, it wasn't in regards to raising money in particular, but it's a testament to exactly what I'm telling you guys. So this person reached out after a video I'd put out, and then throughout the conversation we had, they were like, yeah, I'm good, thank you, replying to what I'd said. And then they said, keep doing what you're doing. I've been impressed from a distance for a while now. You see that? I've been impressed from a distance for a while now. From a distance for a while. Now, bearing in mind, I had started my journey back in 2023. It's now 2025, 2 years later, right? And they've been impressed. They've been watching it for 2 years. So imagine if I had reached out to them, a year ago or so, right? That's what I want to hammer home, is that most people won't engage. You just have to be first. Everyone is watching, but most people don't engage. So you just have to, you have to be first. You have to be audacious sometimes and just put yourself out there. So that's one. And then once you understand that proactivity wins, if you're proactive, you're going to go very, very far. And the other hidden key is that content is the umbrella. What does this mean? It funnels into offline efforts as well. Now, a big stumbling block for a lot of people, whether you consider yourself to be socially anxious, you're afraid of judgment, other people, perceiving you a certain way online, etc. I've heard it all. Even me, I had these thoughts and feelings as well. Now, what you need to understand in this day and age, content is a superpower, essentially. It's almost like if we could go back to like 2007, the way banks were just lending out money, 100% mortgages, just giving it out. The same way back then, that was the superpower. Content is the superpower in 2025. We're in a day and age where it's essentially free. You can pick up a phone, you can talk about what you're doing, and you can build enough trust for people to give you money. I've experienced it firsthand. I've learned from people that have done it at a much higher level than I have, and this in itself should almost alleviate some of the anxieties or the fears that you may have when it comes to posting. And if it doesn't, again, it helps with offline efforts as well. So I've been to events before I had started documenting what I've been doing, and I've been to events after I started documenting what I'm doing, and I noticed a very, very big difference, because of showcasing what I do and essentially the value I can provide. People are a lot more receptive and open to collaborating and working with myself as opposed to before. So even if you don't really want to do too much online, you don't want to be a content creator, I get it, but it helps. It's almost like a constant nurturing system on the back end for anyone that you encounter in person. Imagine you could, I don't know, go to a high-end gym, go to a networking event, exchange contact details. If they can't find you online, you're essentially a ghost. But if they find you and they see what you're doing, they're essentially going to indoctrinate themselves with your content. And that's essentially just like you speaking to them on the phone without you actually needing to do the heavy lifting of it. So content is the umbrella, and they all loop into each other in a massive, massive way. I can't reiterate enough. So that is everything at a glance. And this is something that we seriously hone in on at Property Hustle. So what we do is that we show you the exact system, right, we use to raise hundreds of thousands in investor finance and then deploy it into profitable property deals so that you can start your property journey with confidence. Whether you're already earning a lot and you want to take it to the next level, whether you've got maybe one property and you want to scale and you need to raise money in order to do so, or whether you're at the start of your journey, you want to learn how to raise the money and you want to learn how to be able to deploy it into property deals. This is something that we can assist you with. So the same process that I've showed you is essentially the same one that we use with our students and ourselves in general, because we're still doing this to this day, right? And we use it to secure deals, essentially, right? The people that we work best with, I will say, are those who are hungry to build wealth through property, those who are clear on exactly what they want, those who are willing to put in the work. Maybe you're tired of playing the small game, right? And you're ready to learn, and you're driven by the idea of building something real. So if any one of those categories that I just read out is you, then we can definitely help you. Those who we can't help are those of you who might still be waiting for the perfect time, are comfortable where they are and you're afraid of risk, or maybe you want a magic shortcut instead of using a proven system, and then you blame others when things don't go your way. So if you fall into one of those categories, then I'm afraid to say that we unfortunately can't help you. We're working with those who see the value in this, they see the benefit, and you're ready to take some type of leap or take an action or a step in the right direction. So for those of you who are, in the link below, there will be a way for you to book a call. Comment section or the description, one of the two. So if you do want to work with us, book a call using the thing that I just mentioned. But other than that, thank you for spending. It's been 28 minutes. It's meant to be 20, but 28. But yeah, hopefully you've got some type of value from this, and I will see you in the next video.